Hi, everybody. Todd Nash, Senate District 29. Um, Finishing up another week here. We're rolling along through session. We have less than 80 days left in session and have some really positive things going still. And I want to keep most everything positive, but I am going to start out with a few negative things here. Just a couple. I'll just keep it at a couple here today. So Senate Bill 1154 and 1153, and I've touched on these a little bit. These are water bills that came into session really late in the game, so I didn't get my eyes on them till just a few weeks ago. Now getting a little more familiar with both of the bills. They both have some really problematic things in there. 1154, not only the base bill, but then an 86-page amendment that was dropped. And both of these came by way of the governor's office and departments. So the Department of Water Resources is really where these come from. 1154 has to do with water quality. And really the problematic thing with 1154 is everybody wants clean water. We want to have water quality is important to all of us, and there's ways to do that. The problem with this bill is the way it goes about it, the monitoring thereof. It gives certain agencies the ability to trespass onto private lands, and we think that those private lands should be private and give permission for those entities to come in there and see what's going on. If we have some septic tanks to clean up, if we have some ag lands to be cleaned up, let's work in a cooperative way. Let's start at a local level. Let's build that trust and let's take care of our issues there um, as they come up. This is a big blanket to try to fix a problem that isn't a problem in some places. So anyway, that's that one. Senate Bill 1153 has to do with water transfers. And the problem with this one is in the past, water transfers, the thing that is can stop one of those is if you're impacting somebody else that is also a water user. 1153 opens it up to all other resources, so endangered species, other aquatics. Um, Folks, this opens up doors for litigation to go on for centuries if we go down this path. Um, we all want to protect those things. We just see the way that so many of those are abused, and so I am really skeptical about trying to move this forward in its current form. We're having discussions on it, but I am really jaded on this one. I think it could do irreparable harm to not only farms, ranches, but municipalities that need to move points of diversion. Um, this could have a devastating impact. Want to talk about a bill that is not mine at all. I voted for it in the House today, or excuse me, on the floor of the Senate today, and it had pretty robust support across the board. And that's Senate Bill 110, and that's for a professional baseball team to come into Oregon. And and what it does is it sounds like a little bit of a Ponzi scheme here, but we have it's completely investor dollars that are going into this. I want to make that really clear. There's no state dollars that are going into this. But then what they do is that there's $800 million that can be paid back over time with the wages of those affiliated with that baseball team. And it's predicted that somewhere around 12 years, they could pay back that $800 million. And with those, it shows how high our tax rate is to be able to pay that back with a team there. But that's the premise of it. I think it was really creative to come up this way. It doesn't mean that we're going to get the baseball team. Um, but I wanted to support my friends in Portland. I think this would be beneficial to Portland and all of Oregon. It would bring back a tremendous amount of revenue, provide a lot of investment from outside money, and uh, and I think it's a positive thing. And when I can support my colleagues from this side of the state, I certainly want to do that. I will say that they have been generous in supporting a lot of my bills thus far, and that's what I'm going to touch on next here. And that's mostly what I've touched on these updates is bills that we have that are moving forward. I went through my list here, and there are several pages here. Um, and within this, what we started out with bills that originated with this office, 25 of those are still alive. That means they've had a positive hearing, they've moved on, been passed off the Senate floor, been moved to a committee. I'm pretty happy with that. And we have some that are going to have some positive impact on Senate District 29. And I'm really proud of the fact that all of you that showed up, that encouraged these and inspired these, um, my staff that did so much work, the people that came and testified, and there's no way you do this on your own. And it's our win. It's all of our wins when we get these things. So today off the Senate floor, Senate Bill 784, there'll be a press release go out, but that has to do with dual credits. And so young people that are going to high school, if they're involved in agriculture, natural resource, timber type of things, they can get credit for that going on to college. And so acquire both college and high school credits at the same time. And I challenged my colleagues on the Senate floor today. I said, if you've ever talked to a 4-H or FFA student and not been inspired, then by all means vote no on this measure. And all but one voted positive for this bill. And this bill, I can't take any credit for this. This was Jake Pelroy, my chief of staff, and prior to that, Senator Hansel. It was in a stack of bills, and when we reviewed last fall of ones that we wanted to carry forward, I said, "Yeah, that looks like a good one. Let's bring that forward." But we were able to get that across the Senate floor. I have no reason to think that that isn't going to go on to the House side and prevail there and be a benefit and recognize how important it is to learn um, some of those basic things that you do within forestry, within agriculture, within animal agriculture and crops and everything else, vitally important. You shouldn't get credit just for math and sciences and reading and writing. If we can encourage people to go into these fields, keep them coming back to our communities, this is what this bill was about. Um, Folks, I'm not going to talk a whole lot longer here today. We have a whole stack of bills that we're still working on. Um, we need funding on some of them, and some of them we're just seeing them go over to the House side. We are starting to see the House bills come over to our side of the chambers now and voting on them not only in committee, but some of the first ones out on the Senate floor as well. And so it transitions us a little bit from just being trying to get ours across the line to playing offense and defense with the House side and making sure that ours continue on and that we stop up any really bad legislation. With that, I'm going to sign off of here. Thank you all for supporting and listening and encouraging. Look forward to seeing you all out in district again. All right, bye.